Jen, can we just turn off the waiting room now? Let people join, or do you want it to ding ding through the whole thing?
We can turn it off.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I would ask that you please put your name in chat so we can take attendance that way. So please put your name in chat. I will remind that several times as I hear people coming in. But put your name in chat so we know you're here. So we'll get started. And we call the meeting to order. So we're going to start with last year's minutes. And I will turn that over to Karen.
Morning, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying this last day of foggy weather. The annual meeting minutes are posted on the IAACE website. And I think Jen's got them up here on the screen. And so if anyone wants to go through there or have any corrections for it, please.
They were also emailed to everyone too.
Yes, they were emailed out. So I hope you had a chance to look at them. And so Jen's got those. And then after everyone's had a chance to look at it, if there's any comments or corrections, please let me know and we'll fix it. And otherwise, we'll just need a motion to approve them and a second to do that.
We ask that you put your motions in chat.
Does anybody see any corrections or additions that need to be added? Anybody look?
So Connie makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Laura Ellsworth, thank you.
And then Jen's going to put up a poll and everybody will vote whether you approve.
All approved.
Approved. Okay. We surely had more than 9 people approved. Because we only had 9 out of 29 people who participated. Was it just something really short or something? That was weird. Okay. Are we only allowed to have 9 people vote, Jen? I don't understand that.
Do you want me to relaunch it?
Well,
I can relaunch this one.
yeah, but it's just weird. It says 9 of 29 participated, so I don't understand.
Yeah, I'll relaunch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there we go.
I don't think I'm allowed to vote because I'm a.
Yeah, co-hosts are probably not allowed to vote.
We'll give everybody a second to vote, see if we can get up to closer to that 29. And if you wouldn't mind letting us know, are you coming, if anybody's coming on their phone and they don't see this, or people are coming on their computer, how are you at the meeting today? That would be really helpful to know, I think.
We're at 22 of 30.
Anybody else wants to vote? We'll leave it up for a few more seconds.
It's majority.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So that was approved. So practice one. We'll do better on the next. All right. Be quick on your buttons, guys. Next up is, thank you so much for all of your service this year, Karen. We appreciate you a lot. The next up is our treasurer's report with Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. Our treasurer's report is as of the last of this month, April 30th. We have in our checking account $59,197.09. And in our savings account, we have $5,000.42, $5,042.42 for a total of $64,239.51.
Okay, we need a motion to approve by chat, please.
So moved by Connie.
To approve, and we need a
Second.
second. And Cynthia Warner Lowe seconds. And then the poll will come up. You click on your fingers to approve or disapprove.
Why is it going back to the old one? Okay, there we go. I practice with polls, but this is only like my second time using them, I think.
We know that when it takes forever to vote, that you're not really paying attention to the meeting, right?
No, that's not it. They're scared that they're not supposed to vote. So that's why there is the abstain button. If you just simply want to just abstain from voting, you can do that as well.
Well, I don't know.
See, somebody was like, yes, that was what I was waiting on.
Okay, looks like we're at least majority, so
Okay.
we can say that we have approved. Nobody said no. That's always good. Thank you so much, Lisa, for all your work this year as well.
Thank you, Sheila.
And if you have any questions, just as a reminder, to put your comments and questions in chat, and we will visit that at the end and answer any questions that anybody has. So next up is the committee reports are going to be presented. So we're going to start out with Rob Moore with our advocacy report.
Okay, thank you. You go ahead and turn the page there, whoever's controlling this.
That's Jen.
Okay.
I
The Advocacy Committee, you'll see the members listed to the right there, which we've really appreciated their help on. Thank you, members, for being members of this Advocacy Committee this year. And we've done several things as member services, and want to report on this year. One member service that we have for IAACE is the services of a great lobbyist. Joe Loftus is with Barnes and Thornburg. He's been our lobbyist for several years. Works with us in the General Assembly, works with our board on what we might do kind of grassroots, and reminding us of those things that we can do in our local communities to advocate for our programs. Sponsored, got actually a sponsor for a bill for us. And I've invited Joe to join us today so you can meet him face to face or voice to voice, however Joe prefers to do that, to give us kind of an overview of the work of the lobbyist and his summary of the General Assembly session, and on a bill that we had in the proposed to expand the high school equivalency pilot project. Some of you will remember that the high school equivalency project was passed in a couple sessions ago that created an opportunity to form a partnership involving MSD Washington Township, Richmond Schools, MSD Warren Township, to work with their school corporations on helping their seniors stay in school but study for the high school equivalency test in a way to kind of help them prevent dropouts. And this year we presented a bill. We didn't present it, a legislator did, to expand that pilot project. And Joe can it was not successful, but Joe, are you on that can to give us a little summary of those points I've suggested, and maybe go over with us with the pilot project expansion bill that we had?
Yes, I'm on. So whenever you want me to.
You go right ahead, Joe. It's all yours.
Okay. Good morning. Pleasure to join you this morning. Rob had asked me to participate and talk a little bit about what I do on behalf of adult education. I have a little bit about me. I run the government practice for Barnes and Thornburg, and I've done that now for almost 27 years. And the last legislative session actually was my 44th. So the sort of a running joke I get over and over is that I've done it so long that I don't have any other marketable skills. So Rob asked me to kind of share with you a little bit about the last session, the 2022 session, a little bit about what's going to be happening on the interim, quickly kind of lead into the 2023 session and what will be some of our priorities, and then to just kind of touch on the elections and then what you can do to be helpful to the cause as well. So let me start with the 2022 legislative session that concluded in the middle of March. So the 2022 session was what we call our short legislative session. And historically, it's been a session where the General Assembly deals with emergencies, those things that have happened in between sessions. But over the last couple of short sessions, they've got away from emergencies, and it's become almost like a regular session. There were well over 1,000 bills that were introduced this year. I'm hard pressed to say that there were 1,000 emergencies that we needed to consider. And when all was said and done, they still passed 177 bills, 175 of which were signed by the governor. As Rob has indicated, Michelle Davis introduced for us House Bill 1118, and that was to expand the high school equivalency pilot program to some additional schools that were interested in offering the same type of program that's being offered at Washington and Wayne or Washington and Warren schools, and also to extend the sunset date on that bill, because when we originally passed the pilot program, it does have a June 30th of 2024 sunset date that we need to get eliminated from the law. So that had been introduced. It did not get a hearing, and in part because of the nature of the legislative short session. I sort of say that every session is unique in its own way. Our short legislative session was had its own unique characteristics, and really, I think I describe it as it was a session that was driven by ideology and relatively strident conservatism. And so you had most of the focus was on things like House Bill 1001, which was the vaccine mandate bill. House Bill 1002, which was a tax relief bill. You might recall we had both in the House and Senate, we had House Bill 1134 and Senate Bill 167. The media like to refer to those two bills as critical race theory bills, but they were the ones that contained, at least as originally introduced, the prohibited concepts that could not be taught in schools. House Bill 1041, which was the transgender women's high school athletics bill. You had 1182, which was partisan school board elections. You had legislation for constitutional carry of handguns. And then you had legislation that was going to regulate the kind of harmful materials, by their definition of harmful materials, that could be kept in a school library. So that was what really sucked the air out of the General Assembly this last session. And so our bill to extend the high school equivalency program kind of fell by the wayside with more than 800 other pieces of legislation. However, I do think that we have commitments. There's a growing number of legislators that are interested in that bill, commitments to hear the legislation again in the long session next year. And I'll get to that in a minute. So that's sort of the short legislative session that we just finished. The General Assembly will be coming back into session on May 24th. That is what they refer to as their Technical Corrections Day. Oftentimes when they pass legislation, they pass so much at the end of session that there's conflicting provisions in the bills, and so they come back to clean that up. However, that's also going to become a day now that they're going to consider the veto override of House Bill 1041, which is the transgender high school girls athletics bill. And I have, there's a lot of discussion and talk about what's going on at the Supreme Court level and whether or not our General Assembly is going to try to run through legislation that would create sort of a triggering concept in Indiana, like 13 other states. So although it's supposed to be only for technical corrections, they will be doing the veto override, and it wouldn't surprise me that the other subject matter doesn't come up. So that's the technical corrections day. Then once that's completed, we'll start our interim committees. Interim committees will meet during the course of the legislature usually between July and November. The subject matter for those committees will be announced toward the end of May. So I don't really know right now what all they'll be working on this summer. There will be an education committee, and that gives us an opportunity to at least to visit with legislators about the upcoming session and our desire for the high school equivalency bill. Then looking forward to the 2023 session, that will begin in January. It's what they consider the long legislative session. That means it's a budget year, and so that's important to us as well. The good thing is the state is going to enter January in really very good financial position. I met with the state budget director yesterday, and he believes that we will end June 30th with a combined surplus in the state approaching, if not exceeding, $5 billion. And so if you think about that, that's $5 billion on a $30 billion biennial budget. So that's a significant surplus balance going into the next legislative session. So from an IAACE perspective, priorities for the 2023 legislative session, of course, our first priority will be to restore full funding for adult education. I believe that the Department of Workforce Development will be aligned with wanting to do that. As you may recall, there was a slight reduction in the adult education funding in the last biennial budget, and that was in line with the cuts that were being passed through to all state agencies and programs at the time, because that was the period of time that we were coming out of the COVID budget crunch that was created when revenues fell off. They declined really precipitously. And so state agencies were ordered to cut programs. Adult education fell within that program. So restoring full funding for adult education is a priority. I've already mentioned that we need to one, eliminate the sunset date on the high school equivalency program, but want to look at expanding it. And because there's a lot of interest, we may be able to grow that program significantly next session. And then the third thing I've got on my list of things that I'm going to start exploring and is Rob brought to my attention something called the National External Diploma Program. And that's an opportunity. A lot of things are going online now. Teacher license, education programs can be taken online. And so online applications are becoming more commonplace. So I think there's an opportunity to at least discuss that, to see where the Department of Workforce Development is on that issue. And assuming their support for something like that, then there's opportunities to explore that with the Department of Education and the Governor's Workforce Council. Although there's a lot that's going to be ongoing the next legislative session, I was just going to hit quickly on the elections, since we just had one earlier this week. This was the primary election started off the day with for Republican candidates. Since we have super majorities in the House and Senate, I'm focused primarily on what was going on in the Republican races. There were 40 contested primaries around the state this year. That's unprecedented number. I can't remember the last time there were that many contested primaries. Of the 40 contested primaries, 26 of them were contested Republican incumbents, and 6 of those incumbents were defeated on Tuesday, including committee chairs. And so as a result, we're going to have a lot of new legislators come January 1st of next year. I would anticipate there being more than 20. Given the results of the primary elections and the number of retirements. We had I think 16 retirements as well. So we're going to see a lot of new faces in the General Assembly. That's a lot of new people that need to be educated about issues. And so that sort of I think blends into what y'all can do to help the effort. I like to tell people that during the legislative session, that's the worst time to try to educate a legislator. I tell people that if I meet with somebody at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm usually glad that they remember they even met with me by the end of their day, let alone what I talked to them about. So educating legislators about your program, about the adult education programs, what you contribute to the state. Legislative session is not the time to do that. It's really important that it happens during this interim period. And in an election year, it's particularly helpful because folks are interested in meeting with folks and being seen. And so I encourage everyone on the call here to, if you don't already, to get to know your legislator. We've always encouraged you to think about opportunities to invite legislators to connect to your individual programs. I know that in the past, some legislators have been invited, for instance, to a graduation ceremony. And usually I find those folks really appreciated the opportunity. They learn a lot, and then they become advocates for for your programming. So, it's kind of late in the season for maybe thinking about graduations, but if there are other programmatic opportunities that you have throughout the year, thinking about including a legislator in those programs is really important. And the other thing is just to continue to develop the relationship with the local businesses that you work and place people in. Those local businesses talking to their chambers communicating to legislators about the importance of your program is also very valuable. And so I encourage, you can't do enough of it. And it just kind of helps keep you in front of policymakers, allows them to think of you as problem solvers, I mean, there is huge unemployment or huge employment opportunities. Businesses I think there are 2 jobs now for every 1 person who's counted as unemployed. And so great opportunities for you to be perceived in a problem-solving role. So Rob, I'll stop there and see what you wanted me to talk about that I might have missed.
Quick question in the chat for you, Joe. Like you recommended, we invite state legislators and candidates to our programs. Would you also recommend that we get to know the candidates running for Congress and educating them before they're elected? Or is it useful for us to put effort into those federal officials?
The answer to that is yes. I mean, there's nothing to be lost by putting effort into the federal officials as well. They can obviously influence policy at the federal level. They're also helpful locally. I mean, if they're supporters of the local program, that their ability to communicate to a state legislator, that's a good thing as well. But from my perspective, my focus is on the state legislators, the ones who can actually be most directly helpful to you and your program and funding programs and creating opportunities for you. But certainly the congressional, Erin Houchin, for instance, who will be a new congressional candidate. I mean, she's a former state legislator. That's, so there's a natural connection for somebody like Erin Houchin.
Gotcha. And just to reiterate, I think I heard you say that from the state level, we could go ahead and be inviting candidates who are running for election to our programs like we would actually sitting legislators.
Absolutely, because they're looking to meet people and introduce themselves to people. So during an election cycle, I always find that it's a heck of a lot easier to get legislators and candidates to find time on their schedules when they're going to be getting in front of groups of people.
Okay.
It's a great opportunity to educate them on issues as well and develop advocates.
Great. Anybody have questions for Joe while we have him?
Rob, may I ask a question?
Yes.
I just know that through associations with COABE, they've identified that 12 states have actually moved funding increases statewide, and Indiana is top ranked across the way. When you look at the national data, we're #1 for skills gains, 2 for HSEs, and I think 7 for certifications. Our funding has been flatlined for more than a decade since we transitioned from DOE to DWD. I think we need to go after not just restore, I think we need to restore and elevate so it's commiserate with our national status. And I've had conversations with Senator Bray, he's on board, Representative Thompson's on board, Boehning I've talked to, I don't know that I have a real commitment there yet, but I've started some, Representative Pack is on board, Representative Young and Davis, obviously, but we've had some really good conversations. Senator Bray is on board as well. So he was actually shocked our funding was decreased. So I just wanted to see what's the chance. I'm hearing from them that we could ask for a funding increase. Do you think that's viable and possible, and how do we move that forward?
So a couple of things. I'll start. So the agents, so the first place we have to, and I didn't see Marilyn, but I saw Jerry and Laura on this call from DWD. So the budget agency distributed to all state agencies, Department of Workforce Development included, the beginning of the budget buildup packet at the end of March. And so the agencies have their instructions from the budget agency. So they're in the process of building their budgets right now. So the first step is trying to get additional funding in the DWD budget submission that they have to make to the budget agency by sometime in late August of this year. So that's now, so as not to put all the pressure on Jerry and Laura, the reality is that the budget agency is going to say the number that you received last year is your base budget. And so we expect you to, in the first cut, you can move your money around, but it's a little bit of a zero-sum game. So it's just not as easy as asking for additional money to go in the budget, but that's a discussion that needs to start at DWD. And then I think Michelle Davis, a former member of the IAACE Board of Directors. I mean, Michelle was a brand new legislator at the beginning of the last budget. And I think, she and I've had multiple conversations. She learned a lot. And one of the things she learned was how to do a better job interacting and advocating for things she's interested in. So I consider us having Michelle Davis as a legislator as a huge advantage to us, where she's able to walk into the Ways and Means office and get to see the chairman without having to make an appointment. I have to make an appointment. So I make an appointment and then it gets rescheduled, where she has the flexibility of walking in. And I think so she's in a position to be able to do that. We will have a new Ways and Means chairman this year because the current one is retiring. And I think the fact that you have identified folks like the President Pro Tem Rod Bray as a champion here is a huge benefit. And what we have to do is just sort of continue to marshal those resources as the budget moves through the process. So like I said, they're going to be looking at a substantial surplus balance when they enter the next budget session. The only sort of caveat I will say to that is that an awful lot of why the state has so much money today is because of all of the federal COVID-related funding that the state has been receiving. And so, and inflation has had a huge impact on that as well. So as prices rise, sales tax revenues go up. And eventually all of this, the federal funding is going to run out. So at some point in time, the state's going to hit a little bit of a cliff where all of this money they have is going to quickly disappear. So that's the only caveat I mentioned here, that, they've got to think about those things. But I do think there's an opportunity, and the work you're doing, the fact that you're talking to Jeff Thompson and Rod Bray and others, that is invaluable. Those are invaluable contacts. The most important part for me, though, is knowing that you're having those contacts. So being able to feed them back into the association so the association can let me know, so that I can see, if I see Rod Bray, I can say, hey, I understand you've had this conversation and you're supporting the adult education funding. So that kind of connecting of the dots helps a lot. So that's great. I encourage, you can't do, like I said, you can't do enough of that.
One of the things our national organization COABES recommended is convening the governor and some other critical decision makers like Ways and Means and Education Committee. Would it be possible, or is there an easy method to accomplish that?
I always view that as a little bit of it's an incremental process. So it's important that the Department of Workforce Development is on board.
Sure.
The Department of Workforce Development is on board, which it will be. I mean, if they're not, that's a huge problem when it gets to the legislature. And then I find that individual meetings with legislators are and developing, it's easier to have a conversation in smaller groups as opposed to convening a larger group. One of the folks that I want to kind of explore some of our issues with is Ryan Kitchell. He's the new chair of the governor's workforce cabinet. And so it's easier to get to people like Ryan Kitchell so that he can see how this fits into his overall plan. And then you kind of work it up, kind of work it upstream to higher level folks. But just sort of convening them, trying to convene them and pull together a large meeting without a lot of education on the front end, it's not always that successful, because ultimately we've got to have champions that are willing to go after and support the funding. And like I said, with somebody like Michelle Davis in the legislature, that's a huge benefit that a lot of other advocacy organizations would love to have people like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Anything else for Joe while we have him? Okay.
Just thank you.
Okay.
No, you're setting a great example. It's hard. I don't take it lightly. It's hard work. It's not what you do every day. And so thinking about engaging a legislator on your issues is like something extra, and it's not something that everybody thinks about, but it's very, very valuable. And I think that once you do it, you'll find out these are citizen legislators, and they don't mind being contacted by their constituents. What they don't like is to get 100 emails that all read the same thing and flood their computers, where somebody's just signing their name and pushing send. But if you're talking to them and relating your program personally and what it does, I mean, the examples that we've come up with in the high school equivalency program, the kids that have, that had no opportunity of ever getting a high school diploma, they enter their senior year and they're so far behind that they can't get the credits to graduate. I mean, there are great stories that have developed out of the pilot programs that have been operating, and the ability to tell those, that's very powerful. So again, you meeting with them one-on-one and connecting them personally with what you do and how it benefits the community, that's huge.
One of the tenets that Joe taught me in 2008 or 9 was there's nothing more powerful to a legislator than a sit down, come to Jesus meeting with him. That describes it personally in his or her area of representation. This is what we're doing, and these are the effects that we have. So I certainly have tried to get that across to our members, and thanks, Joe, for telling us that yourself. Any other things for Joe while we have him? Okay, so what to do with legislators? We'll kind of summarize that. 1, and candidates, invite them to your program, let them see what we're doing, tell them what we're doing. If they can participate in an award ceremony or graduation ceremony, all those things are helpful. Get them in front of their audience that they would like to be seen in front of, and give an opportunity to participate and educate them so they can become champions. But do it now. We can't wait until January when the General Assembly convenes. Joe, thank you very much. You're welcome to stay on as long as you'd like. I'm just going to kind of proceed through the advocacy report here, just a couple more slides. You jump off when you have to. Stay with us if you'd like.
I'll hang on through the advocacy report, and then I need to jump off after that.
You got it. One postscript to the General Assembly I'd like to just follow up with, besides the high school equivalency pilot expansion bill, is that Indiana in House Bill 1013 has a new state fossil. So would you like to type in the chat what you think the state fossil is? Do you think it's the beaver? If you thought it's the beaver, it is not. It is actually the American Mastodon, is now the official state fossil of Indiana, thanks to the General Assembly of 2022.
That was part of the emergency legislation that we needed to pass last year.
Emergency, right. Let's go to the slide that we're on now. We pulled together our membership, a wonderful adult education day at the State House on January 24th. There are our adult educators gathered for that. It was in the rotunda. Thank you for the members for attending. Next slide. During that event, and prior to that event, we conducted an essay contest to help educate legislators about adult education using the words of our students. The topic was how adult education will help me move to the next level. Next level, like next level jobs, next level roads, governor's priorities, next level. Get it? Got it. And there are winners. Thank you for our adult educators for encouraging our students to participate. We had legislators as the judges, so it helped us, to educate a few of them that way. And also part of that event was a business partnership and recognition, pretty much an open nomination process, not really selected. Thank you for our educators for recognizing their business partners under the rotunda. And finally, as part of that event, we had a proclamation pushed for us by Michelle Davis, our member and our own member and member of the House of Representatives, presented to us. And so we're very grateful for that. Hopefully, we're going to try to work on a governor's proclamation coming up. And Joe's really helpful with us in advising timelines and things for that. The next Adult Education and Family Literacy Week is coming up in September. I believe it's the week of September 18th. Again, a chance to highlight your program to your community stakeholders, and we'll get some toolkits out to you to do that. Again, a good opportunity to invite legislators to see and participate. Okay.
Thank you, Joe, so much for giving your time to come to us today. We really appreciate you and all that you shared with us.
My pleasure.
That's all I have for advocacy, although it's a segue into the Adult Learners Engagement Committee that will be kind of working in concert with Joe. And Connie, you've got that.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Did you want to advance the slide, please? So speaking of advocacy, listen, student voices are the most powerful tool we have, and that we have plenty of them. So this is kind of exciting. So last year we had a goal to bring student ambassadorship to Indiana, and it has arrived. We have a student leadership track that we're doing, and thanks to a collaboration between Wayne Township and IAACE, we are going to have COABE student ambassador training available at the conference. So mark the date and be ready. But here's the thing, seats are kind of limited. So you're going to have to be on the lookout for more information, and you're really going to have to get on the ball or you will miss out. So I want to say thank you to Christy McIntyre Gray and Wayne Township. They were the recipients of a national award, Program Succeed When Learners Lead. And they're kind of taking the lead on this initiative. And it is such a good opportunity for your students to learn some advocacy skills, some leadership skills. I mean, this is powerful, people. So we're happy to be bringing it to us. And if you don't know why student advocacy is important for your program, look me up and we'll talk, because this is a great thing for Indiana, and we're excited to be doing this. We're also looking for people that want to join our Adult Learner Engagement Committee, and we can always use some volunteers, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. We meet once a month or so, and it's kind of fun. So I look forward to hearing from some of y'all. And again, mark the date and keep watching. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Connie. You and Christy have really worked hard on getting this going, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in the fall.
particularly Christy. She is just a wonderful advocate and a wonderful partner for IAACE.
Agreed. Just remember to put your questions into chat and we can cover those at the end. So next up is our literacy committee with Tom Miller. So I will let you take it away, Tom.
Good morning to everybody, and thank you for being here for the meeting. So the Literacy Committee is the Indiana Literacy Association, and we've always been around to fight for what the name says, which is adult literacy in Indiana. For IAACE, we're also the 501c3 partner. So a couple things we do is the fundraising side, and this year we're going to be doing some grants for programs this year. You'll start getting information in July. For grant opportunities for up to $1,000. It will make it a simple process to maybe help out a program do something new or do something different with their program that they haven't been able to in the past. But as I also mentioned, we are the advocates for adult literacy in Indiana. I know programs are disappearing or absorbing, so I think it's even more important that we get some new people involved so we can keep advocating for that. So as was just mentioned in other committees, you'll hear it in other committees as well. We are looking for new people to join us and become board members for that. So if you're interested, please make sure you contact us and we'd like to get you involved and keep moving this forward. Otherwise, it's pretty short report, so I'm going to turn it back.
Thank you. And remember, guys, if you're a member of IAACE, you're also a member of ILA. Lots and lots of benefits being part of IAACE. So next up is our communications committee, and Jen is kind of full communications. So Jen, it's up to you.
It's up to me. Awesome. Well, whenever it comes to your communications, the communications is everything I do to make you informed, not only in your IAACE membership, but everything all of your committees are doing as well. We originally had a distribution list of like 718, which included obviously a lot of individuals that were no longer members. So we got that pared down. So that's why there's this big, huge list or distribution, I guess, number of people. We pared down that list and we do it every 20 months or 12 months or so. It's down right now to like 490, and new members are added automatically, but the non-renewing members don't rotate off immediately. So in the past year, we sent out 52 blogs and newsletters with an average of 605 recipients and 601 successful deliveries and 172 unique opens. Our average open rate is about 29%. And even though Neil keeps telling me that that's pretty good, I would really like to see it a lot higher. We have about a 3% click rate. And so I guess part of that is education. So educating all of you members that whenever you get those blogs and you get those newsletters, there are tons and tons of click opportunities to get you right to the information you need on the website. So if you think it should have a spot to get you to the website for more information, chances are it does. So go ahead and click it. This graph shows all the campaigns, and it will be available to you after the meeting in full detail if you like. So whenever it comes to all of your communications, the membership directory is the one that we've had for about 3 years now, but it's probably the one that most of you don't know about, or some of you don't know about. It is a great tool for you to network and engage and talk to other members across the entire state. If you're looking for someone to help you with advocacy, you can go in the membership directory, you can type in advocacy, and all of the advocacy committee people and anyone who has typed it in their profile that they are interested in that is going to pull up. So you're going to be able to find the members. The other fairly new thing is our platform. We started that back at the Virtual Institute, and we continued it through the conference. It is now a platform where you can find professional development. We'll be adding to it each and every month. If it's just a membership session, it may be that, but we have an exciting session that will be added this month. And I have a couple in the works for over the summer. But your blog, your newsletter are where I send important information for you. You can always find help on the help page on the website, helping you search, helping you answer questions. I'm a little robot on the website that pops up if you have questions, and you'll be able to tell by the message if I'm actually at a computer or not. And then I encourage you to always check the calendar of events, because all of the membership events plus board meetings, every committee meetings are all on the calendar. And then I've also started adding COABE professional development opportunities in there. So if you can't find a COABE webinar that you wanted to attend, calendar of events is a great place to start. And then the podcast. We did the podcast a little over last year. I think we talked about it last year during this annual meeting time. We've done some advocacy work on there, and I'm looking for advice on what you would like to see for that podcast. So if you have any suggestions, go ahead and type them in chat. If you have any suggestions on any communications, I really appreciate it if you would throw them in chat, and we can take time for them at the announcement part of the meeting. Back to you, Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. You put so much time into it. And you don't have to do every one of these things. That's a lot of things. But find something that you do and that you keep up on. And you can always just go to the webpage, and a lot of the stuff is all there. But if you want, just click it, open it, let Jen feel some love by the opens, because it's like you feel it when people open what you put out there for them to read. So thank you so much, Jen. So next up is Mike Humbleson. He is our president-elect, and he is in charge of our 2022 conference with Jen. And it's up to you, Mike. Tell us about what's going on.
Okay, we've got the annual conference coming up. We're pretty excited about the conference. It is September 28th, 29th, and 30th at Belterra in southern Indiana, right on the Ohio River. We've done a lot of work so far. As you can see on this first slide, we have a call for proposals going on from now until May 31st. So we have a lot of talented people out there in our membership. In our past conferences, we've had people that have given great presentations. So we encourage you, if you have an idea, to go ahead and get it submitted. You can go to the IAACE website and look at the conference and for the call for proposals. And we know that we're going to get a lot of good proposals in this year, as we have in the past. Next slide. So as we're preparing and we're looking forward to the conference, our registration opens on July 1st. We can have anybody register after that. We are waiting till July 1st because we need to wait for the new fiscal year for a lot of places, but it opens then. Early bird registration is July 1st through August 15th. The membership registration will be $279, and the non-member registration will be $359. Now, that is a little higher than what we've had in the past, but I want everybody to know that all meals during the conference will be included within that price. And then if you register after August 15th through September 9th, it will be late registration, and the price does go up with late registration. We also want to offer the one-day tickets. On Wednesday, that will be pretty much a half day at $189. Thursday only, which will be a full day at $209. And Fridays not really available as a one-day ticket. Friday, we're going to have breakfast. We're going to have a keynote and the drawing for all the wonderful door prizes that come in. And so that's our cost. And again, it's at the Belterra Casino Resort. So there is a casino there. You can bring your extra money when your spare time and gamble a little if you so desire. I've been to the hotel. It is a very nice place to have a conference. It's in Florence, Indiana, and you can make your reservations with the hotel. And just be sure to tell them when you're making your reservations, you are part of the IAACE conference. We're going to have some fun activities at the conference in addition to just workshops. On Wednesday evening, we're going to have a boat top gathering on top of the boat that the casino is in. We're going to have an awards banquet this year instead of just passing the awards out on Friday morning. And like I said, the conference is going to be fun. Truly encourage everybody to come to it. And I'm done. Back to you, Sheila.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mike. Remember, reservations for the hotel don't open until July 1st. So be ready when that happens. But that's a great room rate, people. I've been staying in a lot of hotels lately. That's a great room rate. So next up is our awards committee. And I also wanted to thank Mike, you and your team. You guys are doing a great job on this conference. We've had a lot of fun planning. The awards committee is back with Tom again. So Tom, tell us about awards.
Good morning again. You know, this is, I think, part of the conference. It needs to be a bigger part, and that's why Mike has that awards ceremony for the conference this year. We need to celebrate who we're serving, and we need to get that word out. And I think in the past we haven't done that enough. So I would encourage anybody for the awards this year. You see, you'll start getting information that in the upcoming weeks about nominating students to win an award this year, and volunteers and teachers and new teachers. So keep that in mind. Let's celebrate what's happened this last year and get people nominated, and let's celebrate that come conference in September. So you'll see that open in June. We'll take the nominations through August 9th. We'll get a committee together to decide on the winners in the weeks after that, and then present them at the conference in September at that award ceremony on September 29th. So please do so. We don't get enough nominees. Nominate those from your program who have done great jobs this year, and let's celebrate that. So that's all I have today.
Great. And this year our awards ceremony is at night, the dress up event. This is going to be fun. So think creative black tie. So it doesn't have to be like a suit. We did this at a theater thing I just did, and it was great fun. People dressed up really fun, but a creative black tie. So think fun dress. All right. Next up is our professional development committee with back to Mike and Karen. We're just playing trade back and forth with these two guys. Okay, Mike and Karen.
Karen, did you want to do the slides?
Okay, sorry, I have to maneuver my screens around as I take notes. As you know, we've still been dealing with the COVID pandemic, although we all seem to be coming out of it, but it has taught us and shown us that we can do professional development virtually too. So if you have staff that have other jobs or other situations going on where you can't drive and take that extra time to do PD, we now know how to do it, like we're having our meeting today. So it's now going to become part of a little bit more of a norm for those people so that we can include everyone in our programs. Our next conference has a strand just for technology. I hope encourage everyone to do this, to submit to that, because I think there's a lot of education and professional development that can be done in this area. So I encourage everyone to share what they know. And you can see the other 7 strands, ELLs led by Gretchen, Easter Day, Brenda Gistone and Alice Cult. Professional Developments led by Connie. Adult Ed by Cynthia Warner-Lowe. Administration by Rob Moore. Corrections by Mike Tomlinson. Technology, as I said, by me. And HiSat and HSCs from Sheila Butler. And Jen has on the proposal where you sent it, and it's on our website. So we need to get those in, and I highly encourage everyone to reach out to those that you even think you would like to learn more from and say, I've seen you do this or whatever. Encourage them to submit a proposal, even if you're not going to be doing it, but you want to hear more about someone else's program. Next. Or do we have any more? There we go. And Mike, why don't you talk about this slide here, okay?
Okay. As Jan had said when she was talking about communications, we have the platform set up. You can see it there, and there is a lot of opportunity for professional development through the platform, as we've recorded things that we've presented and have it up there. And you know, things can come through COABE too when you're looking for professional development. And you can see the different links to get there on this slide, and I encourage you to use the platform.
Please update your profile on IAACE so you've updated, so we have all the right information for you.
Next one.
That's all you got for you. Next up is membership.
Yes, it is. Therefore, we will turn it back over to Sheila.
Remember, on that list of who is in charge of the different strands, that doesn't mean we're doing it. You're doing it. We're just there to kind of guide. So don't let that, the names don't mean that we're the ones doing all the presentations. We're there to guide. All right, our next one up is our membership committee with Cynthia.
Good morning, everyone. As we look at our membership, we need to have more members come on to IAACE. As you can see, our current paying members, we have 276 members for 51.6%. We still have many account due, and that's 258 for 48.2%. Note that our current membership rate is $55, and your $55 is tax deductible. When you become a member of IAACE, you also have membership advantage to COABE. You also have, as it says on the form down below, you have conference discounts, professional development, platform access, teacher credit membership. You have COABE membership. You have the Indiana Literacy Association membership. You also have the access to Jen's letters and blogs and Zoom accounts, and her monthly text talks, which are wonderful. So please, if you are not a member of IAACE, please join today. If you know of anyone, it's very, very important to our association. So we're asking that everyone please join IAACE. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Cynthia.
Cynthia's got one more slide.
Oh, sorry.
We are trying to do a membership bylaw change. And with the membership bylaw change, the current letter says that the association has 5 categories, which include the individual professional, individual support staff, student, senior citizen, and that's individuals that are 65 plus, and the honorary life. The new language that we are proposing is that with the new membership categories, we would like to see, we're still asking for the individual professional, individual support staff, students, and when it comes to new one, the adult education retirees, community partners, and honorary life and organization. This will also give the board the access to establish new membership categories as we go along. And why are we asking for this change? We're asking because it will help us to increase commitments to the committees that we have. It will increase membership benefits. Of course, it will grow our membership because we now have more people that can join, and it'll develop different kinds of memberships. So please think about this as a membership bylaw that we are proposing to have changed.
This is going to be, and when we get to new business, we will take a vote on this. So if you have any questions or comments or things you want to discuss before that happens, please put those in chat and we will address those as soon as before we vote. All right. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for addressing that with everybody and for all that you've done this year. Next up is our history committee. And the history committee, before you play that video, when I came on as president, I said, you know, I feel like we need to collect stuff. We need to keep our history. And Laura Smart jumped on it. She thought that sounded like great fun. And she has done an amazing job of trying to find, we've been trying to collect some of our old programs and history. If you have anything that if you've been in adult ed for a really long time and you have any old programs that you still have, we would love to have them. A copy of them, even I scanned mine in because digital is kind of the wave of the future. So we're trying to keep some things digital, and a lot of our things are kept at Ball State. So I think this is going to be covered in her little video because she wasn't able to make it today.
Hello, everyone. I am sorry I couldn't be here in person today. However, I look forward to seeing everyone at Valterra in September for the annual IAACE conference. I feel very honored to be the first IAACE historian. If you are a history buff, such as myself, you may consider helping with this committee. It is truly interesting. The historian role was created in order to organize and locate former documents and records of IAACE. Most of the history is stored in the archives of Bracken University on Ball State University's campus. Even though items are not allowed to be checked out, I was able to take pictures and scan almost everything in the archives. As I sifted through documents, I found treasurer and secretary minutes in handwritten form dating back to 1945 when annual dues started out at $1 a year. However, with great opposition from the membership, dues were increased to a whopping $2 and eventually all the way to $15 a year. The pictures on the slide are only a fraction of what is located in the archives. However, I have tried to load as many as possible onto a Google Drive for future use. Like I said, I took a lot of pictures while I was at the Bracken Library and scanned numerous articles. There are still more documents that need to be scanned and uploaded to the drive. You will probably recognize some familiar faces on these pictures, such as Rob Moore and Gloria Hubbard. Finally, you will notice some current pictures I have taken as well. These will be submitted to the archives. So, at the conference, if you take some pictures that you feel would be beneficial for the historian committee, please submit them. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
So that was really exciting to have Laura do that for us. And so, and Brenda reminded everybody, find your old conference bags. Just bring them with you to the conference. And the older, the better. We'll tell you more about that at the conference. Okay, so next up is our state report by Jerry. Jerry, welcome.
Well, welcome and thank you very much this morning, and thank you for giving me just a couple of minutes. I want to piggyback a little bit on the advocacy report by Joe and Rob and tell you what we have been doing behind the scenes here at the Department of Workforce Development. Obviously, in our role here at DWD, we cannot lobby. We cannot advocate, but we certainly can provide information, data to help support you, IAACE, the department in making its case for adult education. And we've been looking over the past few weeks at three really buckets, if you will, three areas. One is to align state legislation with federal legislation. Number two, institute or implement a competency-based high school diploma. And then the third area, which I know is on everyone's mind, is funding. The first area, align state legislation with federal legislation. This is sort of a technical correction as Joe was talking about. But currently, state dollars can only be used for HSE preparation, basic skills remediation, and English language preparation. This change in our state legislation will allow state and federal funds to be used for the same purpose, including integrated education and training, IET, as we know, and workforce education classes. So it's essentially expanding our state legislation to include the allowing us to use those funds for IETs and WEIs. The second bucket is the competency-based high school diploma. We have behind the scenes talked quite a bit about allowing for the implementation of a competency-based diploma, providing another opportunity, another option to adults seeking a secondary credential, and specifically, instead of an HSE, a high school diploma based upon competency. And the last that we've been working and providing a lot of information on is what Joe and Rob talked about, is the funding increase, restoring the funding to the previous base, and perhaps expanding that funding, growing the funding up and above restoring it to the previous level. So we've been providing a lot of information, a lot of background information on those three areas and some other areas as well. I will say this, Maryland has done a very, very good job in making sure that the folks here at DWD and other stakeholders in state government are certainly aware of your needs and of our needs in adult education. But one of the things that really sort of highlights everything is about the good work that you've done. And in just about every conversation, these four figures come into play. Number one, these are figures from program year 2020, and Christy earlier alluded to them, but they are part of this education process about the good work that you're doing. In 2020, program year 2020, Indiana was number one in academic achievement in measurable skill gains. Indiana was number 2 in program year 2020 for high school equivalencies, only behind California. It was California number 1, Indiana number 2, Florida number 3. We had been number 3 previously. Indiana was number 4 in 2020 in IET outcomes, number 4 in IET outcomes, and Indiana was number 10 in enrollments in spite of the pandemic. Number 1, measurable skill gains. Number 2, in high school equivalencies. Number 4 in the nation in IETs, and number 10 in enrollments. The basic message is, in all the education and all the data that we provide, is that Indiana is indeed a national leader in adult education. So as we go forth, just please realize that we're providing behind the scenes a lot of background information, a lot of data, a lot of stats to help you make your case for adult education and for you to be able to educate stakeholders in your communities, again, about the work that you're doing and the impact that you're having on our students. Thank you, Sheila.
Thanks, Jerry. I love those numbers. I always write them down. Those are awesome. Next up is our new board members and officers that were elected for this coming year. I hand the torch off to Mike in the end of June into July. So we have our president-elect, our new president-elect coming in is Connie McCollum. Our treasurer is Lisa Curry. And we have board members of Adrienne Carroll, Christy McIntyre Gray, Amy Richmond, and Angela Reffo are our new members and officers. So I want to congratulate them and all that they are going to get into, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And then we want to talk about those leaving the board and we thank them for their service, and they will be on until June 30th. Number 1 is Darcy Mitchelson. Number 2 is Laura Ellsbrock. Number 3 is Cynthia Warner-Lowe, and 4 is Laura Smart. And Laura's promised to stay on as historian for a while, so that's good while she continues doing some of that. So, but thank you all for your service. We loved having you. We hope that you won't be strangers. Okay. So we have some old business to cover. The first one is just to tell you a little bit about last year's conference, because I think it's important that you know how our money is spent. So as you can see on your screen, our conference profit from 2021 was $50,566.32. That kind of money, when we have profits, that's what allows us to do advocacy for you and to hire an advocate. That is a really powerful thing to have. Our total income was $114,131.82, and you can see how that kind of was came out from the attendees, what people buying tickets, and then sponsors and collaborations. So, and then our expenses. Conferences are not free; they cost a lot of money. We have hotels and meals, awards, keynotes that we paid for to come and speak to you, printing and copying, and gifts to attendees. So those add up, and then we got the difference. So that's kind of how our money laid out for the conference. And again, if you have any questions or comments or anything, please put it in the chat, and we will cover that when we get down to that business. And we have one other thing to add into old business, we have, I think, Michael, Michael Matos, are you still on? Because we were going to ask you, we saw you were on, and if you wouldn't to tell us a little bit, update us on anything COABE, this would be the time to do that with you. And we tried to message you, but we couldn't find you. I don't know if you're still on. You're there.
He's there, but he did email me on the side, so
Okay.
he might be multitasking. No, it never happens on a call.
No. Well, we'll see if anybody else has anything, and then maybe we can catch him. So Michael, if you're hearing me, please unmute. So does anybody else have any old business or anything we need to readdress? If there's any questions on the profit, anything like that, we could talk about that route in old business. Please just submit that via chat. Maybe we can catch Michael. And
I'm seeing no hands raised or no business brought up in chat.
okay, well, maybe we'll catch COABE at some point.
We can always catch them in announcements.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go down to new business. So now it's time for that membership things. Was there any questions in chat about the membership change, Jen?
I have not seen any. We, of course, will take any now if anyone has any questions.
Throw your hand up really quick, wave at the screen, anything crazy if you a slow typer.
I will say that I think it's really important whenever it comes to this change that this is going to give the board the freedom to create memberships that are truly going to benefit everyone. One thing we certainly learned from the survey that we did on salaries, we learned a lot from that survey. There are lots of you that are part-time. There are lots of you that work for school corporations versus a nonprofit private organization. So therefore, we're hoping to create memberships that will allow everyone to participate and be a IAAC member at different levels. So
we just had a question in chat too.
Okay.
It was curious if we've decided about the amount for the other membership levels.
We have not decided any amounts. I would really strongly suggest that if you have input on that you join the membership committee. Michael Thompson and Cynthia Warner-Lowe and myself, they gave me a project to research all of the other organizations across the United States on what their membership cost was. We're looking at organizational memberships. So we'll compile all that information and try to come up with what is going to work for Indiana. So if you would like input on that, then we really encourage you to join the membership committee because we would always enjoy other perspectives and new connections.
Anything you want to add, Cynthia? You want to just reiterate one more time our change in language?
Well, certainly can. As we said, the board is trying to propose a different kind of membership. And the old language says individual professional, individual support staff, students, senior citizens, and those are 65 years and older, and honorary. The new wording, it's not that much different. We're still proposing to have the individual professional, individual staff, support staff, students. The change comes. We now want to incorporate adult education, retirees, community partners, and we will still stay with the honorary / organizational members. It just widens our opportunities to capture more members. And that's our whole goal in changing the membership.
Any additional questions? I see none. I need to ask for a motion to approve. Tom Miller. Motion to approve. And I need a second. And Lisa Cruey seconds, and the poll will come up for us to vote. Remember, as members, you get to vote, so please vote. And I know some people here are visitors, so.
%, 57. We're at 60%.
I guess 70 is our kind of like.
Can I, while you guys are voting, can the person who, I didn't catch who made the motion to approve the change in the bylaws?
It's in the chat, Karen.
I didn't see that. I looked in the chat and I didn't see their name.
Tom
Miller, motion to.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you are. It was longer. Okay.
Seconded.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. I think
at 67%. Remember, if you do not feel like you can vote or don't want to vote, please go ahead and just abstain from voting so that we can have a nice percentage in the formal records. Yeah. There we go, 71%. All in favor, no nays, no abstains.
Okay, we can end the poll.
Okay.
At least hit 70. All right. So that was that. And next up will be our budget. And so that goes to Lisa.
Hello again. Our budget is set. Of course, it's just a direction as to where we want to head and guidelines we want to stay within. Our income we're estimating for next year based on memberships is $27,500. Conference expenses will be $111,600, and sponsor partnerships will be $57,000 for a total revenue of $196,100. Our expenses will be for our executive director, contract labor, mileage, office things such as supplies, postage, the mailbox we have, website, our insurance and membership relations, our memberships in other organizations, which allows our members to be partners in those organizations or to be members of them, our lobbyist and our conference expenses, for a total expenses of $176,256. So revenue over expenses next year is expected to be $18,285.
Anybody has any questions or anything, please put those in chat. Thank you, Lisa and Jen and whoever worked on the budget. And you did at the beginning conference expenses, but that's actually conference income. We expect to hopefully bring in $111,600 total.
Yes, that's under income. If I stated that differently, I apologize for that.
There is income in conference, and then there's
expenses.
So
they're close. Okay, and I don't see any questions. I need a motion to approve this budget. In chat. Mandy Logston motions to approve. And I need a second. And Connie seconds.
Oh, Mandy.
You'll see your little poll come up. Remember, hit abstain if you don't want to vote, but please try to vote. It takes a second. There's a little delay. And I don't get to vote, and I'm one of the 28, so.
%71 participated.
Okay, and we have 95% yays and 5% one nay. But I think we passed with the yays. So
you want me to end it?
You can go ahead and end it. Thank you. And so we will do the best to make the best use of our monies. If you have concerns and you are that nay vote, and you would like to share with us your concerns, we would love to know. You have questions? All right. Mike, are you by chance there? I think we'll go on and get down to our
no, let's move on to our, and we'll do it after all the new business that's on the schedule. Okay.
All righty. So next up is the National Diploma, and we have guests, Janita McNamara and Margaret Patrick. I think I saw Margaret here earlier, so I will let you all explain what, and we are going to have a longer webinar on Friday, May 20th. So if you have lots of information, you'll get to get it.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Let's see. Okay, share screen. Here we go.
There we go.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak to the IAACE, and thank you for your time. I am Margaret Kirkpatrick, the NEDP director, and I wanted to give you just a little bit of an overview of the National External Diploma Program. Joe Loftus, your advocate, mentioned that he was looking at NEDP and was planning to take it forward to the workforce boards. And it was also mentioned by Jerry Hoffner when he was talking about the competency-based education diplomas. The NEDP is a pathway. It's not a diploma in itself, and it is a pathway to a local high school diploma, either offered through a local agency or at a state level. It is a competency-based applied performance assessment. It's not an instructional program, but it is intended to serve adults and out-of-school youth who have high school level skills, but really don't have the time to go through a traditional program, or they really have a problem with single event tests. And so an opportunity to demonstrate their skills allows them the opportunity to be successful. They build a portfolio through a series of simulations that are very, very life skill related. These tasks parallel their job and their life situations, things that they have to do, have to know about in their life. The key characteristics of NEDP is very, very focused on life and work skills. Things like applying their math in a context of looking at credit cards, applying writing skills in the context of writing letters to employers, writing resumes, all of the ways that adults really use academic skills. It's largely a distance education program so that it can be self-paced and flexible. There are periodic, every 1 to 2 week proctored meetings, and this can be done either remotely or it can be done in a face-to-face situation so that we know who's doing the work. But our clients, and we call them clients, not students, our clients really do get to plan their own work. We find it especially appropriate for second language speakers and those who learn differently, not because the rigor is any less, but because the kinds of accommodations that are very often requested are really built into the program, such as being able to choose a place where they can work most effectively, if it needs to be quiet, etc., where they can choose the kinds of materials that they need in order to provide resources for them, where they can have the amount of time that they need in order to complete the tasks. NEDP is not a passive learning program, but learners are very actively engaged and practice their time management skills, their problem solving skills, their really higher level thinking skills. And then the program leads to a local diploma. So who would we be looking for our clients? We are looking for self-directed learners. They are working independently most of the time. They need these skills coming into the program, but certainly they are strengthened in the course of the program. We are looking for adults who have life experience that can be used to fulfill parts of the requirements in the program, and that they can also use the NEDP to start to plan their next steps. But because we know adults in adult education programs are looking for a help in being successful in their next plan, in their next step forward, whether it's going into another training program, going into post-secondary, keeping their job or getting a better job. We're looking for our clients who demonstrate personal responsibility and problem solving. Again, these skills are very much strengthened during the course of the program, and that they're able to achieve a high intermediate level score on reading, writing, and math CASAS instruments. And by the way, once they do achieve the cut scores that are necessary, They never have to take another test. The entire program is built around a demonstration of skills. They have multiple opportunities to attain the 100% mastery level, which is the requirement for each of the tasks. So where in a program might you find clients who would be good candidates for NEDP? It's really looking to serve clients who are not presently finding a program that works best for them. So this is not meant to replace any program that's presently being offered, but to offer another option, another alternative path. Perhaps students who are in high school equivalency programs that you know, and I was a principal of an adult school, so I know we always had students who were in a GED, HiSET, or TASK program, but who just couldn't seem to have the tests be successful for them. They knew the skills, but tests were an issue. This would be a good candidate for the NEDP program. Credit completion students who come in and perhaps are looking at a 2 or 3 year path. Our program, based on a lot of experience, because we've been around since 1975, see that our students are successful in usually 6 to 9 months. Then they can complete all of the requirements and move to graduation. Advanced ELL students who want a high school credential, but again, may not be a good candidate for a test. They have the skills, testing provides a barrier for them. The NEDP program is in 2 phases. The diagnostic phase really is the overview of NEDP. Generalized assessment is where they build the portfolio. This is where the majority of their time is spent. And again, all tasks have to be completed to 100% mastery. And then there is another competency where they can, as I said previously, where adults really are getting a high school diploma in order to go forward to their next step. This competency can help them evaluate their past life experience and start to plan forward. I would, if we're looking at the overview of NEDP and the benefits, it does provide a nationally recognized diploma option. We are presently in 9 states, and we have built in a lot of structure to ensure that a client in California, a client in New Mexico, and a client in Virginia are all reaching the same level of 100% mastery in order to say that we have a national diploma option. It does align to college and career readiness standards. It allows clients to fulfill their adult responsibilities while working on the high school diploma, because remember, they can work on their own in between the proctored meetings with their NEDP assessors. The program is really relevant to adult needs. We do have an entirely remote option if that is the way the program is working best, or for those clients who might have geographical challenges or transportation challenges. The entire program can be offered remotely, or there can be face-to-face meetings if that is the way that the program presently meets. And it really promotes digital literacy skills since it is 100% online. All of the work that the client does is online, and all of the evaluation that the NEDP staff does is online. As we said, or as was said, we are going to have a longer overview because I have talked very quickly, I know, and I have just touched on the very top parts of it. I encourage you to look for our NEDP overview workshop later this month, but this is our contact information. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them through the chat.
I think that there was a couple questions. It looks like Janita handled one of them in the chat. The other one was from Sheila. Sheila, do you want to just verbalize it?
Sure. I just was curious, are the leaders that run the things, are they part of the group that's, I mean, would they be part of the program that is offering it, or would they be part of NEDP?
No, we train your local agency to completely run the program. We provide a lot of technical support. even for programs that have been implemented for a long time, we are very much present as technical support and providing resources. But a minimum of 2, but usually 3 to 5 people in an agency are trained to serve your own clients.
Wonderful. Thank you for that information. So remember, Friday, May 20th at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern via Zoom, and this will be recorded as well. So if you can't make that time, make sure you watch the recording if this interests you.
And it will be added to the platform afterwards as well.
This interests me.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies.
All right. Next up is the IU Health that we've been working on. And unfortunately, Brandy is not well. So Rob, would you be willing to tell us a little bit about IU Health?
Well, like you have heard in the medical profession and the health science industry right now, they employers are in desperate needs of nurses and other patient care personnel. IU Health has been interested in reaching out to adult education programs wherever they have a medical facility or hospital clinic to work with them on developing what we would call WEIs, Workforce Education Initiatives, particularly in the area of patient care technician, certified clinical medical assistant, and positions like that. We in Bloomington have started that this year. Other adult ed programs have even doing it before that with their IU Health facility and other major medical providers. First semester we had, I think, 3, and the second semester we have, like, I think there's like 10 in there right now. They'll be taking their certification test here in a couple weeks. So I would recommend that it could be time to reach out in your local areas to, if you have an IU Health facility, try to get maybe with their director of nursing or HR department a meeting to work out a possible WEI. Certified clinical medical assistant could be a good one. The training is kind of long, much longer than just CNA, but they need more than CNAs. So I would kind of go from that route. There's a national certification organization called NHA, National Health Career Association, I think is what it is. And they have curriculum and the certification test. I would say kind of do some research on that, have a meeting with your IU Health facility and see if that's something that they would be interested in partnering with you. The partnership for us looks like this. We give the classroom instruction as adult basic educators. We also give some lab experience, but IU Health provides clinical experience, and they would be used to that because they deal with medical students and nursing students all the time for clinicals. And it gives them a chance to look at the students in action, working under some mentorship there during the clinical experience, and decide whether they want to hire them or not. So last time we had one hired right there in the middle of class. Matter of fact, she wound up finishing the course with us, but she got a job right there in the middle. They liked her so much. So I think that's a good thing to do, and expand your WIs and help students get jobs in high wage, in demand job. Once IU Health has them, they have tuition reimbursement if they want to go further in the nursing career. So IU Health, I would definitely go ahead and try to contact them.
Great. Thanks, Rob. And so now we're at the general, and if there's any comments or questions.
Any other new business?
Oh, is there any other new business?
This is a great time for COABE to chime in. Michael, if you're there.
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Thank you. Can I share my screen real quick?
You can. I think, Jen, do you have to unshare?
I believe so, yes.
1 second here, let me pull it up. And I will share the link for this very quick presentation right afterwards with any other links that we might not have been able to capture while I was presenting. So it was just a pleasure to see some of you in person at COABE. It was just a great experience. Our regional meeting was just spectacular, totally disorganized, but just a great time because of I believe the disorganization. So it was great to see everyone together, and I'm looking forward to finding the picture that someone took of all of us there in person. I believe there was over 100, about 120 that attended both in person and virtual, and just to see so many people at 7 a.m. Seattle time and in person was just energizing. So that's great. There will be some final numbers and all the breakdown of the conference soon. However, if whether you attended in person or virtual, I have here a QR code to complete the conference evaluation. Please do so when you can. That would be great. And I will also share the web address a little later in the chat. And please sign up for our diversity, equity, and inclusion symposium coming up. It sounds very exciting on June 8th. Once again, the QR code there, and I will put the link in the chat in a few minutes. The last journal to be released, the Learning Differences Journal, is out now, available now. The next journal, and there's the QR code for that page and how to order, whether you want to order the entire journal or separate articles. Vote for your favorite article as well, and you can go back to other journals and do the same. Our next journal sounds very interesting as well, lessons from the pandemic, and I'm pretty sure we all have lessons from the pandemic. Submit an article. You can see all the submission rules and everything else that you need for your article. Once again, there's the QR code, and I will share this website as well. And then our next thing here, Intersect, the Workforce Symposium, which was a huge success. If you did not get a chance to attend, once again, this is the QR code to watch the replays of this great event. I will share the website as well. And then, of course, I would love to see the same amount and even more attend the next regional meeting. So I will put the link for this. We don't have our next schedule out yet, which will start in August, I believe. That should be out probably after the second week of June, but you can check on this, the regional calendar, and then register for those regional meetings, both the leaders, the state leaders meetings, and the regional membership meetings. And I look forward to seeing you all there and just hearing about your great programs. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael. I want to remind people, if you have not put your name in chat, that for you to be counted in attendance, please do. I was scrolling through to see if we had any general member or questions that had not been answered. And I saw one. I was starting at the top, so I'm kind of working my way down.
The next COAVE is April 4th, 2023 in Atlanta. I saw that question, so just answered it. And
There
you guys,
was one about if we were going to do virtual. I was trying to find that question.
oh, well, let's go on to general member comment questions before we do that. Is my screen thing went away? Where is it at? There it is. Okay. Now, do you guys see general member comment and questions being shared? Give me a thumbs up, somebody, picture. Yes, thank you, Jerry.
So if you have any others, but this one was one that didn't get answered at the time, so that makes it a general member comment or question.
Well, I think I did see Mike address it in the
did he?
chat. Yeah, the virtual component we are still working on. We do hope to deliver a virtual hybrid component. We're not sure what that's going to look like exactly, but it is our hope, so that we can make sure all members have an equal opportunity to attend.
So if anybody else have any questions. We covered them as we got to them, but
I think we did. The chat will be a part of the formal record as well. So therefore, I'm looking. If there's anybody who would like to, anybody can obviously unmute and make any comment on as well. I don't see anything.
Christy did note that her comment was that IUH and Wayne have CCMA, sterile processing technician, pharmacy, dental assistant, and soon medical secretary. So way to go.
Whoop, whoop. And Michael has just added a link for a COABE conference evaluation.
Yes.
You get the free journal. So if you were a part of COABE and you haven't done the evaluation, you should do it, because I started to read the journal. It's long.
Remember, if you're a member of IAACE, you are a member of COABE, and they offer so much. It's so worth being a member. You get to be able to be part of COABE. All right. So I don't see any other comments. And remember, you can still ask them. We're ready for announcements. And so, Mike, you put your announcement up. There you go. A reminder. Did you want to say it, or do you want me to?
I can just verbalize that. Again, the conference, the registration will open in July. Hotel opens July 1st. Whenever it comes to the awards that are a part of the conference, that'll open next month. So please pay attention to your email, even when you're not off break, or at least visit the website. Maybe you could set yourself a reminder to check the IAACE website on a weekly basis so that you can keep up. Wednesday is a great day because that's the day the blog comes out. The awards ceremony will be in the evening, first time ever. Think a red carpet affair. Anybody got a red piece of carpet we can borrow? That might be a thing to ask for now.
Be fun.
Yep. All right. And then I just wanted to encourage every single one of your committee members said something about their committee. Appreciate greatly all the work that your committee does. They make my job so much easier. And I would encourage you to join a committee. The work is never done on any of the committees. Even whenever the conference committee gets done and the last thing has happened at conference and cleanup is done, the next year's conference starts to get planned pretty much the same right after the results are posted. So the work is never done on the conference committee. And whenever it comes to all the other committees, they're always up to something. So join a committee. And I stuck one in there that none of you guys know about. This was one of our social media posts yesterday. I understand it is National Teachers Week. So I wanted to recognize all of the teachers in the membership system. If your category is listed as teacher educator, your name should be on the screen. So go ahead and find your name, look up that Facebook post and tag yourself in it. And if anybody has any comments that they'd like to make on any of their teachers or announcements, I would certainly welcome that as well.
If you have any other announcements to make too, now would be the time, and feel free to unmute if you want to announce them out loud.
Mike just put the links to join the DEI symposium, the journal article submissions, intersect recordings, and a calendar to register for regional meetings in the chat. So I'll just remind everyone that if you'd like to save the chat to make sure that you have all these links, you can go to the bottom of your chat to the little 3 dots and click that more button and click save chat. And whenever you leave the meeting today, it will appear that you have saved a chat, and you can find it usually in your downloads.
Awesome. I did not know that.
Did I teach Sheila
Save the
something
chat.
today?
You did. That was cool. I'm learning new things. All right. Before we adjourn, which we're getting ready to do, we have an ending thing, just like we all stand around and chit chat after meetings and we're not all together. We're doing a little networking breakout. So stay on and there will come up a breakout room. Choose your room based upon what you do, and you can meet up with some of the people from around the state for a little brief chat and share session and whatever you want to do during that time. So we'll do breakout rooms by position. So be ready to do that after we adjourn. So if we are done with our announcements, thank you all for your patience. This was a long meeting. We had a lot. I hope this shows you that IAACE works really hard for you and we get a lot accomplished. So I need an emotion to adjourn. Someone can, Rob Moore motions to adjourn. I need a second. Connie McCollum seconds. And I need, I guess, a poll for us to all vote. And remember, stay online and join your room. I will be in room 3.
I'm sorry, I didn't make a poll for the
You didn't make a
adjournment.
poll?
No.
Well, then everybody can just like give me a thumbs up on the screen or say adjourned. I don't think anybody's going to really object.
Not to joining, adjoining, I wouldn't think.
We will stop the recording and then we will start our breakouts. Thank you all for coming.
And I'm just typing in the last names of the breakouts. And
You wrote thumbs up.
okay, the room should be open.
It's not showing a bunch of unassigned people. It's not giving-
Oh, here, let me, I hate when my,
It should be highlighted below, Sheila. I think there's a little place you can click.
Oh,
and
I
shows
missed it. Sorry. Thank you. I didn't scroll.
Yeah.
All righty. You want to stop the recording? Do that.
thank you.